It's Christy, and today alongside me is my co host, Jen. Now, in this podcast, we delve into the realms of self discovery and transformation, guided by experts from various modalities around the world. Today, we have a truly inspiring guest who has walked a remarkable journey of self realization.
That's right, Christy. Today we are honoured to have Joey join us on the show. Joey is a mystic, a lover of deep connection, and clinical hypnotherapist. He's on a mission to help people remember their true selves and to tap into their gifts and abilities.
And with a path that began in normalcy, Joey's journey took an unexpected turn that led him to a profound spiritual experience and a newfound purpose. Joey, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. What a great introduction. Wow. That feels really good. I
That feels
appreciate it,
great.
girls. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Now, Joey, could you share with us the pivotal moment that pushed you to embark on your spiritual journey?
There was several, but there was an NDE, you would call.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely a pivotal moment in my life. But that was all within a very dark time in my life. It was all kind of wrapped into one around 2015 into 16 and into 17. Just really low time, very depressed, very anxious. I was at that time working as a federal correctional officer in a maximum security prison here in Canada, and that environment mixed with some trauma surfacing from my childhood and just really all came to that dark night of the soul, like we all seem to run into once, twice, 10
Yeah.
times.
A
But
million.
I would say, yeah, right. And having my son also, I think, was a big part of that too. But I would say a mixture of just constant, not constant, I would say continuing cycles of kind of sabotage and drinking,
Yeah.
drugs, partying, escapism, mixed with this really this desire not to be here, really. I mean, I was just kind of done, and rock bottom. I never had a plan to take my life, but it was definitely not something that I was really worried about. If I would have, if I were to go, I were to go. I was going to go, and that would have been okay at that time. That mixed in with a few, as I call them, moments with God, where I can't deny these moments of expansion and presence that I had never ever felt before. Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there, not just necessarily one moment.
Yeah, and it is never ending, isn't it? Like, I mean, we have breaks, but it's
Sure.
like we're constantly evolving, and there's new pieces and layers that are always coming off, right?
Yeah, but people always ask me, when does it end? I'm like, we won't. We are continuously and ever evolving, but it does
Yeah,
get better. It does get easier
yeah,
as I feel if you're, once we start diving into the deep trauma and releasing some of that old energy and emotion, um,
yeah.
and you start to cultivate or strengthen the mindfulness and your awareness and those pieces, you
Mm,
get better at pivoting, you get better at really zooming out, and you don't get stuck in the shadow as
yeah,
long, like stuck in
yeah,
those that darkness. So you get
mm,
better, you sharpen your sword along the way, right?
yeah. Equipping yourself with tools in that tool belt,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I love
Beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
So your story is obviously going to be a healing and transformative one. Can you elaborate a bit on the role that hypnotherapy played in your journey of
Mm,
healing childhood trauma?
Yeah. So right after my accident, so I had a car accident. A little bit about it. I live in Canada, so ice fishing is kind of a way of life. We do that a lot. Maybe I'm guessing not where you ladies are,
definitely
but
not.
so I was actually coming back from a day on ice fishing with some friends. My brother was with me. We're in the back seat of a pickup truck, and we were driving home, and it was dark, and we were pulling a trailer with two snowmobiles, and we hit some black ice, and we ended up spinning on the highway, doing about 60 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour. Um, and I remember this moment where my life just kind of zoomed right in, and everything slowed down. And I remember going, "Holy shit, this could be it." And I'm like, and I remember saying, no way. And I look over and I see my brother's eyes, and he's just like, and it was that moment I was like, holy shit. And luckily enough, it felt like angels guided us into the ditch, into the snow. And luckily nobody was hurt. And that was kind of that moment of like, I have so much life to live. I gotta move differently here. I gotta do something. I gotta shift some things in my life that aren't serving me, and I gotta take action. And so I started meditating after that day. And again, I had kind of started, and then I started reading the books, and I started reading, some Eckhart Tolle again, and there's a Jen Sincero book called "You're a Badass." I don't know if you're familiar with this book. It's a really awesome book. That was one of my favorite books. Yeah, You're a Badass. It's amazing. You're a badass. And so, little by little, I started doing some gratitude and some meditation. I started to feel better, and I was working a 16-hour shift at the prison at the time. And my wife called me, and she says, when you get home, I want to show you something. I said, okay, what is it? And we were part of a marketing group online. We're starting to look at different streams of income, and this gentleman was speaking to our group, and his name was Adrian Wesley, and he was a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm like, well, what the hell is a clinical hypnotherapist? I knew nothing about it other than I heard some people quitting smoking with hypnotherapy. That's about all I knew. That's it. Most people, that's what they know. And I said, okay, I'll listen. So I got home after a double shift. I was exhausted, and he started talking. He started talking about the subconscious, which I knew very little. He started talking about his trauma, and he started talking about this and that, and these things were just resonating with me. And he started to explain how hypnosis changed his entire trajectory in his life and how he healed so deeply. And I was just like sucked into this information. I knew nothing about this. And I remember my wife looking at me and going, oh, you should really work with him. And I said, I think I got to do this.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you mean? And I remember this was the biggest pull of intuition I had ever had up to that date. I'd never had that pull of listen, pay attention. This is it. And I remember just going, holy shit. Like, what is this pull? I'm going to go do this. And within a week or within 2 days, I'd gotten his information. I reached out to him. He told me where he went to school to study this. And within, I think, a month and a half, I was flying across the country to go study at that same school. And this is where the funny thing was. I thought it was just a way to have a side income, help some people. Little did I know how much work I was going to do on myself during class. As we learned, we teach by doing. And, we were only, I think we were a class of 4, very small class. So we did a ton of work. And that's when a lot of my deep grief, shame, guilt around certain areas of my life started to surface, because not a lot of people know. Like, the root of our issues are very rarely are we aware of them. We don't really know. It's all deep down in the subconscious, and everything started to move and shift. And a lot of moments in my life and pieces of my life that I thought were just normal, or I had gotten over because I've grown up and gotten older, surfaced, and they made me realize how much of my patterns of self-destruction and patterns of self-sabotage and why my relationships were because they were all rooted here in some big moments in my life, including some abuse and some other big things. So I would just have to say it completely changed my life, like to the point where without it, I wouldn't be here with you. There's no way. And I wouldn't be teaching, and I wouldn't be helping, now hundreds and hundreds of people in the last 5 years, release those old emotions and make peace with the past and change the story, because we need to change the story, but the story doesn't have to necessarily only be changed here in the conscious. It has to be aligned with the subconscious. So we bring all those pieces home, all those wounded pieces home, and we bring a new awareness to them, and we do the inner child and the past life regression, which is another aspect to it. It definitely changed my life.
Beautiful.
100%.
And to me, what I hear is hypnotherapy is like a really powerful tool to help you implement lasting change. The inner child I hear you speak about so passionately. right? The inner child work that you do with people.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what drives that passion?
Yeah, it's always the first step for me in 99% of the people that work with me. We address dislike first and foremost. There's little versions of us that don't feel safe, don't feel worthy, don't feel that safety part. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Are you safe
Totally.
being seen? Do you feel safe being you? Do you feel worthy? Do you feel enough? Well, a lot of us have these wounded pieces, and it's not from today. It's not from last night. This is from 7 years old, 4 years old, 3 years old, 2 years old. And the reason I start in inner child is because once you kind of revisit these versions of you that are alive and well within us, those versions start to realize like, oh, I never needed this and that. I have you now. I have me now. We revisit these times with a new awareness, and we get to change the story with our inner child. We get to show up for them, and they go, wow, you're big, you're strong, you're evolved. Look what you've been through. All of a sudden that wall comes down of being loved again, or allowing love in, or that blockage comes down from expressing themselves. You know, how many of us have gone through life and weren't allowed to express emotion in the family, or didn't feel safe expressing emotion? Well, what happens as we get older? We still feel we can't express that. And so our relationships suffer, our life suffers, our ability to receive suffers.
Massively.
You know, there's so many things. And what's beautiful about hypnosis is that it takes away the analytical mind. It takes away the chatter. And so we get to go right to the source. And when we get to the source, we never know what it is. That's the beauty of it. It's a spiritual journey. It's the higher self that leads these journeys, in my opinion. I just happen to be the bridge. And I always ask the higher self for permission as I set intention, and I say, okay, what does Christy need? You know, what does Jen need here? Sometimes I just ask and I go there. And we go right to the moment that needs the most healing, right to the moment that needs to be revisited and brought, you know, and where we can bring more compassion, more understanding.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love that. I love that, the bridge. I love that so much, because you know we are in that healing journey, right? Jen, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I find when I talk to a lot of people around childhood, like obviously it is our childhood from that age, but between 1 and 7, there's a significant number of, like everybody keeps saying around that 7, sometimes even 8, 9 age. Do you feel like there's anything in particular that's for? Obviously it's the childhood traumas part section of it, but is there anything else that you feel is significant for that period?
Of course, yeah. That first 7 years is like, you hear everybody talk about kids being sponges during this time. Well, it's more than sponges. They're in theta. They're in hypnosis. This is a state of hypnosis. Your first 7 years, you are taking in everything around you. And so if your parents' beliefs around love, expressing yourself, if there was a lot of abuse, if there was you're taking this in. You don't know any different. And your subconscious doesn't know either. Your subconscious is impartial. Money stories, that's a big one. You know, how many, you know, this is a pretty common one, but you know, the parents saying, oh, we're not rich, it must be nice, you know, we don't have that. Money doesn't grow on trees. It's hard, it's a struggle. And you're like, yeah, it is. And you go your whole life going, oh, and you don't even know that these patterns are running in the background often. Something beautiful comes to you, an opportunity, a job, and you kind of push it away. Or you know, you hear some people winning the lottery and going broke right away. Within 6 years, people winning the lottery and going broke. Why? Because they didn't think they knew how to deal with it. They were poor. They had this lack consciousness kind of running in the background. So these belief systems are created in those first 7 years, and that's a very important, you know, time for these children. And being a parent who knows this, it's even like,
now
I got.
But you've got young ones, haven't you?
I do.
This is awesome.
8 and 6, so they're right in there.
Yeah. We are literally byproducts of our parents' programming, and then we grow up. We have our dark night of the soul. We have that reality shift. We're like, oh crap, I've got to start reprogramming my life. So we get to deprogram and reprogram. Right? It's just a program, and that's the tool hypnosis helps you with. Right?
Yeah. what I find really fascinating about hypnosis, and I'm in awe every single day, even to this day, is how fast change happens when we go deep enough. You know, the amount of clients that I have that have done 5 to 10 years of talk therapy with little to almost no progress in these beliefs or this, and I'm not saying it doesn't have a place. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But when we go deep enough, sometimes into an alternate lifetime, past life,
Yeah.
and we rip the root out of it, and it's done. It's not let's go revisit this for 3 more weeks. It's done.
Yeah.
And you could see it happen. It's this fresh air, like this new fresh air. This energy leaves them. This old paradigm kind of just dissolves, and it happens instantly. But a lot of us don't understand that we have to go a little deeper for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Is that so? When you say past life regression, is that similar to is it called timeline therapy? Is that the
I'm
same
not
thing? Or?
super familiar with timeline therapy, so I wouldn't be fair for me to comment on it. But I will tell you this: the amount of people that come to me with a trigger, an anxiety or anxiety attacks, these panic attacks, these out of nowhere, really deep triggers. I'd say 95% of those people, the ones that have those really sharp ones, not from this lifetime.
Not from this lifetime.
Not
I just
from
got
this
goosebumps.
lifetime.
So did I.
Yeah, same. My hair's standing up. So what's interesting is people, oh, past life, that must be fun to experience. We're not. You can have it for fun. We can do a fun experience, but that's not why I do it. What do we have to revisit? Which lifetime wasn't cleared? Something happened in this life to trigger something within the soul that wasn't released. There's some density within the soul, I like to say, or some karmic density. And like I got goosebumps just about to say this, but the amount of people that have crippling anxiety, the amount of people that have seen me for one time and it's gone, unbelievable. And it's 95% is past life. And they're like, what is this? And a lot of them, some of them, these people don't even believe in past lives.
Yeah.
And they're like, where am I? I'm in this what is this? I'm a boy in Morocco doing all these different things. But, if you've read Many Lives, Many Masters, it's an amazing book to read about past lives. This is a psychiatrist who was Harvard educated, did work at Yale, Columbia University, very highly regarded psychiatrist. So there wasn't any past life stuff that he was studying at Harvard and Yale.
Yeah.
And he had one of his clients come in and they ended up going into past life work and it changed both their lives forever. So we don't know enough to just downplay it. We can't, because I've seen it time and time and time and time again. And I will say this too. I feel like with this shift in consciousness on the planet right now, we, maybe not everyone, but maybe a select few, I don't know, the ones doing the work anyway, are being really pushed into this past life stuff to clear the density for the collective.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Yeah, it's so magnificent. It's the most fun that I have, I think, leading anyone is in past lives.
And when you clear for yourself, we always talk about the ripples, don't we, Christy, and how it expands out. So Michael Jackson said it the best: start with the man in the mirror and change that, and then it shifts out.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that that's exactly it. Nothing changes outside unless we change the inner world. It's a reflection of the inner world, right?
Yeah.
And you're seeing the polarity on the planet, like the contrast on the planet right now. We're being guided to go deeper within ourselves, not to go into the streets, not to go burn buildings down, not to go say this is injustice. Yeah, there's time to bring that to the awareness, but that's showing you what's alive in you. It's triggering you because guess what? It's alive in you.
Yeah.
And if we would all spend 20 minutes a day just going, okay, what am I feeling? What within me needs to be released or integrated or loved a little more?
Yeah.
It's the collective shadow. You're seeing the collective shadow right now being coming up, but it's like, okay, how do we heal? Well, yeah, you might be able to do some work by protesting, and you want to go glue your hand to the street, go nuts. But how about you go sit? How about you go? Well, really, how about you go sit with your shit for a little bit?
With your shit,
Yeah. That's where things change, because it starts here, and then it's in your relationships, it's in your family. and then it moves into your
Yes.
community, and you just get to show up differently. So yeah, you're
We are the
absolutely right.
creators of our own reality. So go inwards, create the shift here, and that's why we experience the ripples in our outside world. Yeah,
Mhm.
beautiful,
And it,
beautiful. So you have experienced hitting rock bottom before waking up, right? So you had your rock bottom hit, you woke
yeah,
up, and
yeah,
that resonates with so many people. My
yeah.
question to you is, how did you surrender to the universe and its guidance, and how did that impact your spiritual evolution?
It started with I think Rhonda Byrne's from Australia, isn't she not? Who wrote The Secret and the Magic? Isn't she
Yeah.
Oh
not?
yeah. Oh, is she? I didn't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
know
yeah.
she was Australian.
Yeah, I think she's Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wrote a book. Everybody knows about The Secret, but the book that really like shifted things for me. There's a couple, but this one was a major one. Was The Magic, and it's a 28-day gratitude practice book. Very simple read, but breaks down the energy and the understanding of gratitude. Not just saying I'm grateful, but it brings you the pieces of well, Joe Dispenza talks about mind heart coherence, bringing thought but an emotion together, not just the thought of something, which is powerful, but you bring an elevated emotion to that.
Yes.
That's the charge from the heart. That's the
That
charge
is.
getting like I'm full on goosebumps right now.
Yes.
It's the electrical charge from the heart being expressed out into the universe, and that's what comes back to you. So I started to do this gratitude work, which I had never done before. And I remember within 2 days of doing the work, I was like, what? It's like timeline shift. It's like a complete quantum leap. Everything just starts to get brighter, more beautiful, more lovely, more easy. I'm hating less. I'm just enjoying the walk that I normally would be in my head in. I'm just looking at the tree. And this just started to kind of, build momentum. And then I got into some of the laws of attraction from Abraham Hicks. And Esther changed my life tremendously. At first, I remember hearing her talk, and I'm like, this girl, she's wacko. Like, she's nuts. Like, what is even happening here? And then I started to just, you know what, I'm going to listen, and I'm just going to see what these concepts are all about and see what happens. And again, I started applying these simple like techniques to my life, gratitude and appreciation. And then I went into just she does these rampages of appreciation. Have you heard her do these? She does these like little rampages. So there'll be like 12 minutes of just, she goes on these rampages of what she appreciates in her life. I love the way the air conditioning hits my skin when I'm on a hot day. I love the fact that my car is driving straight and I have new tires. I love the way the sun's coming through and just kissing my face. There's something beautiful about knowing I get to go to work and have this job and you'd start doing this.
Yeah.
And it gains momentum. And I was doing this for 40 minutes a day on the way to work before going into the prison. So I drive and I put some really good music on, some real feel good music. And I start going on these rampages. How I love the way my uniform fit. I love the way my hair was that day. I'm so grateful that the mechanic got to fix my car, that I had the money to pay him, that there's fuel in my tank. 40 minutes out loud in my car. And I'm like, whoa! People are flying by me going, this guy's out of his freaking mind. But I'm flying on a different level. I get to the jail. I get to the freaking jail, where it's the darkest place on the planet other than a war zone. And people are like, what the is wrong? Like,
what are you on, Joey?
You're on day one of your shifts. Like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm good. But I started to realize, like, my light, my vibration going into a place like that was really impactful. Maybe it was just for the person I got to work with that day. Maybe it was just more fun. Maybe it was just lighter. And maybe it was the interaction with the inmates. Maybe I was just having more fun. And guess what? The inmates were less tense around me. And I noticed a big change, and people noticed a change. They're like, wow, you're really happy. You seem really light. And I'm like, I know, and I'm doing this. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm flipping doing this. And I was blown away. And that's when the awakening really started to happen. I was like, I'm in more control, all while being not in control than I know. And then you start to find the balance of like surrender, but also intention. So like intention is literally, if you
Every
could put in everything, and it's so important. And so I started putting more intention in what I was doing. And I was like, man, life is really fun. And then I started to see myself going, okay, this job isn't serving me. I was doing hypnotherapy as kind of a part-time gig for friends with PTSD and other people. And I really didn't have a following online at all. I just had friends. And so that kind of led to this knowing that I was leaving this job, making six-figure salary, benefits, pension, 10 years in. Most people going, you're doing what? I'm like, I'm leaving. They're like, you're leaving your fucking, the most rock solid job you can have right now, right? At the peak of the whole COVID crazy stuff in March 2020. I'm like, yeah. They're like, how? Like, how? I'm like, I just know. And that's the part of the awakening. The awakening is part of it is letting go of shutting down the noise and coming home and going, what's my truth? What's my inner guidance feel like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And then trusting them.
So just going back to that, because did you have any fear around? Obviously, you just trusted, just let it go.
Well, just a little bit.
Because that's amazing.
So
Like to
much.
walk away from six figures, right? And that security.
Yep.
You're putting all that trust in something that you've just started. That would have been quite a impact.
Yeah, and it was terrifying, 100%. And 99% of the people that heard about what I was doing weren't very supportive. Like they're like, that's crazy. Like, what are you thinking? Like, you got to think this through. What pros and cons? Why don't you take some leave? Because I could have taken a year of leave and still had my job waiting there for me. But I knew that my
that wasn't a commitment.
That was me going 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
And I knew for this to happen, for this to evolve, I needed to trust and let my wings kind of, my wings would be shown.
Yeah. And, and we don't fully commit to a path. The universe doesn't pollute for us. Like the universe wants a full commitment. And if we're like leaving a safety net there, that's still a maybe. That's not a definite.
And it's fear. It's fear.
Yeah.
That's fear. And if fear and faith it's not the same frequency.
No,
It's just not at all.
Absolutely not. Let your faith be bigger than your fear.
Yeah. And so it was terrifying. And we also not only did I quit my job, but we moved across the country too at the same time. So I left all family.
Was that to Guatemala?
Columbia. No, it's British Columbia. So in Canada, in BC, we moved across the country from one part of Canada to the next, where we knew nobody, because we just had the pull to be in this environment. We knew we loved it here because it's the ocean, it's mountains, it's skiing, it's snowboarding, it's mountain biking, it's all the things that we love.
Life.
So not only it's where my soul was being called, and again, no idea why, just trusting it. And so I remember going with the first 3 months. My wife was still working. I watched the kids for those first 3 months. While she worked, I was at home, full-time dad. No real plan. 3 months. I had my clients here and there, doing some work. And then some random day in July of 2020, I jumped on TikTok. And Christy, you understand the power of social media and the connection and souls coming together in this beautiful way.
Yeah.
That's when everything started that was the first gift I got. They're going, see, you trusted, here you go.
Yeah.
People are waiting for you.
What a magical time for like the creators that got on at that.
Phenomenal.
Like you, I think I got on at the end of that year. Was it the end of? Yeah, I was already. Yes, it would have been the end of 2020, like literally the last couple of days in 2020.
Yeah.
Completely traversed life. Oh my God.
It shifted the world. It shifted the consciousness. Like TikTok itself as a tool from God or beings or energy or whatever. It was used. There was some messed up stuff about TikTok, but there was so much beauty. And so many people felt seen. So many people go, what you just said, or Christy, what you just brought, or what it brought people home. It's like, oh my God, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one feeling this. Because a lot of people were just going, fuck, am I going crazy?
Yeah. Well, the algorithm is so spot on and so well designed that
Yep.
we are landing in the feeds of people
Yep.
that actually want to hear our message. Whereas in the other space, you have to be friends with people, and it's like, it's just all about life. Like, I just show up in my magic. I don't have to share all the intricate details of my life to get likes and sort of put in front of people. Where over in TikTok, you get to share your gift. You get, you have so it's Sunday nights, you do a meditation almost every Sunday.
It's been 3 years. I can't believe it's been 3 years that's been going
live
down
on TikTok.
Yeah, and it's been one of the most like gratifying, amazing things that I got to show up for and serve. Right? It's free. It's every Sunday we get to pick a new kind of like last Sunday was all about the fires everywhere around the world. I don't know if you've seen, but where we were, it's been on fire. It's been crazy. People are families have been lost, lives have been lost, and communities have been destroyed. And we're like, well, let's just send some love and maybe some rain. The day after, where there was no rain in the forecast, there's 3 days of rain come. I was like, what the hell? We're 200 people meditating on one intention, bringing relief and rain to where it needs. And it just blew me away. Yeah. So that's one of the coolest things, the live meditations on TikTok.
So California can blame you for the storm.
The smoke. Or the storm. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. That was a big one too. My goodness. Yeah.
So TikTok ends up being a form of affirmations, really, and because it's bringing that awareness to your phone because you're interested in it. So then it's repeating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of that law of attraction all over in a different way. What you put out comes back, and
So Christy just mentioned Guatemala. I wanted to speak to that. So you went on a transformational retreat.
Yeah. So that was 2000. Yeah, 2019. I went to a place called Lake Atitlan, and there's a small community called San Marcos La Laguna. And I had some really good friends of mine, Mike and Nastasia, they did a year trip they drove a Land Cruiser from Canada all the way down to Central America. They did a year trip. And they ended up in Guatemala hearing from a friend about this retreat center. And this isn't some fancy retreat center. This is a very much in the heart of Guatemala. But there's this family and this lady called Chati. And the story with her is when she was beginning to meditate and astral travel, she went to the bottom of the lake and discovered a Mayan ruin that no one had discovered before. While astral projected. And not only did she discover it, National Geographic came with equipment and confirmed the discovery. So this woman was being called by the gods, by the angels, by her inner being to create this retreat center. This was, I think, in the 70s. And it's slowly grown, but nothing too big. And we heard through it. And my friends did the retreat there called the moon course. It's full moon to full moon. So about a month. And it consists of early morning yoga at 7, meditation, followed by meditation, I think, at 9. We learn some metaphysics at noon, and we close up everything with meditation again at night for 6 days a week for 4 weeks. This is where everything started to really open up for me, because I went in there just knowing that I needed to connect and go deeper. I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea what spirit guides were. I had no idea about really any of the metaphysical realm. And so I remember walking into the temple. It's this beautiful wooden pyramid that was built. And I remember walking down into the temple, and there's a statue of Jesus, a statue of Mother Mary, there's the Buddha, there's all these different ascended masters and these religious figures. And I remember immediately getting triggered, going, this is not what I signed up for. I'm not going to some religion. Like, what is this shit? I remember just being really triggered. And by the end of this retreat, I understood that all these religions at one point or another were all the same. The essence of all these teachings were the same. And I'm like, whoa. And I got to find myself, and really my connection, with my guides started there. And my deeper understanding of the metaphysical realm and the other side of things, which, very well, it started to really open up. And it was intimidating at first and hard to stay grounded at first, but that's where I would say after that, that's when my hypnotherapy practice, or I would say hypnosis and healing practice, completely went to the next level, because I realized hypnosis wasn't just hypnotherapy. It wasn't just these little therapies. It was accessing the subconscious, accessing the higher mind, accessing the quantum field. And so, holy shit, when that happened, I started to integrate the energy and the metaphysical world into my teachings and into my my guiding and my healing. So
you alchemized magic, Joey.
Yeah. Without even really knowing, you know, without even really knowing what it
this is. This is how, you know, this is how we intuitively bring our magic to the world. We go along a journey of transformation, and we get different tools in our tool belt, and we bring those together, which is what you bring. Just like my tools along my journey may be similar, but there's other pieces of that journey that, you know, the different tools that I've got that bring my magic. And this is what I love about this space. There's so many people that need healing, and each and every one of us have pieces of a puzzle that other people are looking for.
That's just it. And that's why I tell people, even people who are looking to work with me, some people are really excited to work with me, and it doesn't necessarily mean I'm the right person. And same with you, Christy, right? I mean, it's the same.
Totally.
Like, so I tell people, I said, really feel into who you're going to work with, because there are contracts here. There are people you're meant to connect and work with. And when it comes to that deeper healing work, there's going to be no doubt who your person or a piece of that is.
Yeah.
So I tell people, that's where you got to pay attention to that whole, because nothing I love more than hearing like, I don't know what it is about you, but I know it's you.
Yeah.
Oh, that right there is like,
I don't know. I don't even know why I'm
big.
sitting here in front of you right now. I'm just here. I'm just here. I have a woman coming on my retreat. Jen and I are holding a retreat here in Australia next week.
Amazing.
And I have a woman that said, I just came across your TikTok and I just knew that I had to work with you. She got on a call with me. I just knew that I had to work with you. How do I sign up for this retreat? And I'm like sometimes this is just, it just drops in, right? But it's having that, like, understanding that feeling and that guidance, and allowing yourself, like, being surrendered to being led, not questioning, just going, well, I don't know why, I don't need to know, but I'm here and this feels right. This feels expensive.
And isn't that the struggle though for most, or even for me sometimes, where it's like, oh, I know, and then all of a sudden, but what if, blah, 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 and you're like, you talk yourself out of the magic that was just shown to you and given to you. But we get better at that, right? We get better because when we do trust those pulls, they never steer us wrong. We always go, okay, this makes total sense. It might take a little while to get there, but it'll make sense.
It does. It does. So, talking about your clinical hypnotherapy, you're also a soul alignment coach.
Yeah.
Could you explain the concept of soul alignment to us and how it contributes to personal growth and healing?
Well, it kind of comes all together as one here. And it started with the hypnotherapy and the inner child work that I learned in school. And I started to realize, like, okay, a lot of us aren't doing what we're wanting to do because something within us is causing resistance. We want to align to the soul's purpose. We want to align to the path that we are here to be on. Yeah. And that takes some deep work sometimes. And we all have different layers and different, blockages. But soul alignment simply means let's bring the subconscious and the conscious on the same level. Because once you're programming and the conditioning is changed, and you bring it together, you're unstoppable. Like it's just alignment at that point. I'm not saying you won't struggle and have bumps in the road, but you'll be able to pivot in the moment so quickly. So once the inner child feels safe, once the karmic density is released, once the emotion has been allowed to move, and that part of you feels like it can express itself and can be itself and can truly be seen, then the conscious desires and those pulls that you're getting become seamless. There's no coming around the back and taking your feet out from under you and doing the same pattern or going back to drugs or alcohol. because you're like, oh wait, no, you have that awareness.
We've just lost Joey. Have we just lost me too? No,
No,
there
we're
he is.
back.
Hang on. We've got to bring it back in. There we go.
We're back. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
That's all right.
So yeah, the reason I called it Soul Alignment Hypnosis Program is because it really is just that. There's nothing that I love more than seeing someone thrive, and I think you can agree with that. And to see someone be able to consciously feel a shift and see themselves moving through what has been like pulling them back for years and years and years, and seeing themselves like being able to consciously move through that, it's magic. And when the stuff beneath the surface is aligned with the stuff that you desire, that's that flow that everybody talks about. You got to believe it, but it's not just consciously believing it. You have to have those pieces on board.
Yeah.
And when your inner child is on board,
yeah,
it feels excited again. It feels like it's having fun again.
Yeah. When that inner king and queen inside of us can stand up and actually take the reins in a beautiful, healthy way and provide that safe space for the inner child to go back into play mode and just be as a child should be, not running our love life, our sex life, our relationships, our money, our business, like all the things, right?
Yeah, all the things.
We can just access it for joy, and you can live a happy life.
Right. And what I really love about it too, and I've seen this more and more, is that when we do the healing work around the inner child or the wounding or the trauma, often my clients will be like, oh, wait, I had this really deep connection with my guides. I had this intuition.
Yes.
When I was young, I saw these spirits. I was connected to these energies and I shut it off because I was scared. Or my dad, because of the church, or because of all this stuff that came through. And they remember, they go, oh my gosh. And then there it is again.
Yeah.
But they remember that they were this already. And so they go, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And they see all the stories from the past just kind of dissolve.
Yeah.
And they come home.
Yeah, they do. This is what we interviewed Dr. Ashley Morland yesterday, and she's a scientist, and she was explaining to us about remembering. She's like, remembering, like it's like, we have dismembered parts of ourselves.
I love that.
Literally disassociated. And remembering is just like literally bringing those pieces back, like remembering everything back into us. Yeah, there's so much remembering. So much remembering that especially that intuitive piece. I find people that think they aren't connected, I'm like, you've probably been speaking to your spirit guides your whole entire life and you don't even know it. Like, we have this conversation in our mind going backwards and forwards. Well, most of us do. Did you know some people walk around with absolutely no thought in their mind? It's actually a thing. I'm like, how? I mean, sometimes that would be a blessing, but how does that happen?
So just fully present, no matter what they do, they're just here and now? Or is it just no thought, like
inner
dissociated?
No inner dialogue at all. Maybe disassociated.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, either they're so present, there's no thought, and they're just in the moment and beautiful, or they're completely detached completely.
Yes.
So what is it? I wonder what it is.
I'm like, so.
Or are they monks? Because is that what monks do?
Well, I think monks have an inner dialogue. Maybe.
They got to.
Quiet in the mind. I don't know. Insane.
Yeah, right? I'm like, I battle these thoughts every day. I'm battling them right now.
And even when I'm not talking, my guides are like saying something.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. Beautiful.
So, Joe, you offer a 12-week inner journey of deep soul healing and expansion. Could you walk us through what the program has to offer and the kind of transformation that participants can expect?
Yeah, this is the program I've been kind of running for the last 2.5 years that has been obviously fine-tuned and changed. Now it's about a 12-week journey where we meet every 2 weeks, 6 hypnosis deep dives, and 2 coaching integration sessions. the reason I went into a program is because I realized when I first started doing this, I'd be like, okay, who wants a session? Oh, I do. Okay, cool. Come for a session. We get through a breakthrough, or we have some deep healing happen, or we're on the cusp of something. A lot of times the subconscious will, or the shadow will hijack you and go, nah, we're good. We're gonna stay in the shit over here, because we've been there. We this is what we know. Like it's like I said, the subconscious is impartial, but it wants to stay the same. It kicks and screams to stay the same. The ego loves what it knows. It wants to, it just
It's
wants
safe.
to have control, right? Exactly. So I'd find people having these massive breakthroughs and then running. And I'm like, why are they running? Why are they not coming back? And I'd reach out and they're like, oh, I don't know. I really want to do this. I know it's huge, but and I'm like, hey, I can't have it this way. I don't want this 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I don't want half a breakthrough. I want these people to see what they're made of, see what they can move through, and see who they are. Because that's the coming home piece. So they start to, holy shit, I am worthy.
Yeah.
I am loved. I am part of this. I am God in a physical form being expressed. Like I am one with it all. Like when that happens, game over. It's a whole new paradigm. But in the beginning, it's scary. So I was like, okay, how do I get commitment? I need people to commit. And I want the people to commit. I don't want the people to half-ass it. So I created this program, and this creates commitment. I mean, you're in. You're going to invest with me, and we're going to do this for 12 weeks. We're going to dive into the deepest parts of your soul. And we're going to ask your higher self, where is the density? Where's the resistance? Where is the pain that isn't allowed to be expressed? Where's the kind of the gunk, or the, what's not allowing you to be fully expressive or expressing yourself? And so that's what it is. It's a real deep dive. And like I said in the beginning, we usually start in this lifetime, and we usually start with the inner child and the trauma from here. And then it naturally kind of progresses into the past life karma, whatever needs to be cleared there. And from there, we go into creating. We don't have to only go past, we can go future. What does your higher self want? What are you here to do? How can we tap into this energy? So it's a past, present, future healing all happening at once. And it is soul alignment. We want to get you as close, as aligned as we can with why you're here, as confident as you can be, as grounded and anchored as you can be, so that you can continue receiving the guidance and continue saying yes to that path.
Yeah. So when you talk about the future, are you talking about like quantum jumping?
Yeah, just the manifestation work, like really getting into a deeper state of trance and understanding like your future self's alive and well right now.
Yeah.
What do they look like? What does the ultimate version of you look like? And then getting into a lot of like what the Joe Dispenza work, which is connecting that future self, where you're going to an elevated emotion, and getting that moving in a certain way. And it's so much fun to watch, because the amount of people that we work with and I get to work with that have like gone on to do just ridiculous things. It's crazy. Yeah. Like things they never would have thought they would have done, all because they brought an 8-year-old part of them home and made them realize that they were worthy and loved and protected. And all of a sudden things take off.
Yeah. And, it's not about staying stuck. Like you said, it's not about just doing. I talked about this with someone the other day, that often when we go into the healing journey, we just want to keep diving into it and keep healing and finding and healing and finding and healing and finding. And it's like, at what point do we stop? Like, I mean, we could keep finding shit, right? But when do we actually start? Because when we're going in, we're actually going into the past. We're not in the present. We're not looking forward and like living and creating a future. We are literally staying stuck in the past as we keep
going there.
Keep deep diving. To me, it's about dealing with what's present right now, what's coming up, what are my triggers right now, understanding and gaining tools for the tool, but like on that tool belt to help you deal with stuff when it comes up again. And just start living.
We don't go, I don't bring my client and go, okay, let's go find some other stuff that we can find that isn't. No, we don't do that. We go, where's the resistance now? What are you feeling? What emotions are coming up? Okay, this is being shown to you because your higher self is like, it's time, girl. Let's go. That's why, the stuff for me, like a big story I don't talk about is my abuse as a child never surfaced until 2 years ago. 2 years ago, 30 years with no recollection of this abuse. all of a sudden I'm in meditation and I'm starting to get flashbacks. And I'm like, there's no way. Even for someone who does this work every day, I'm like, there's no way. And I know how suppressed memories work. I know how it's there to protect me. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I believe God, your source, your higher self only brings you what you're ready to clear. And so we don't go digging around, but we ask, where's the resistance? And we rip it out, and we do it once. We don't go back and back and back because we're not going there. But sometimes there's the emotional charge that's keeping you there. Yeah.
And you had the tools and the capacity to hold that and deal with that.
Exactly. Yeah, because if that would have came up in 2016 while I was going through my other shit, I don't know if I could have made it. I don't know. I don't know.
So, Joey, our audience are people going through a spiritual awakening, a dark night of the soul. They're either coming into it, they're going through it, or they're coming out of it. What advice do you have for them as they navigate this transformative phase in their life?
Learn to sit, learn to quiet the mind. First thing you got to do is learn. And everybody's going to go, I can't quiet my mind. It's too busy. It doesn't stop. Everybody's like this in the beginning. You're not going to the gym and lifting 400 pounds the first day you go to the gym. What makes you think you're going to meditate perfectly or get that quiet mind the first time? Get good at finding your way to meditate too. If it's binaural beats, if it's guided, if it's in nature, find something that resonates with you so you can just come back into your body. Because most of us are all up here. We're all day, be terrified of the future and completely guilt stricken and so much shame from the past. We're just here or there. So that's the first step. Read a book like The Power of Now. Read some books on mindfulness. Learn to meditate. And it doesn't have to be this. You don't have to be a monk to do it. I could do it on a lawnmower. I could do all.
Go for a walk. Leave your phone at home.
Go for a walk
and just be in nature and take in the scents and the smells and the sights and the colors and the feelings and
allow yourself to fall in love with the wonder of the environment you're in. Be a kid again and just go almost pretend. Have the beginner's mind. Pretend like you've never been here before. Even if you've been on that path 1,700 times in your life, go on that path with a beginner's mind. Look at the trees, look at the birds, listen for the birds. That presence alone will be enough to show you that you're not your thoughts that keep continuing to come in and then come in. So that'd be number one. And then from there, it's about, I think the gratitude part is something, it's so simple, yet most people don't understand the power of choosing gratitude and raising your vibration first thing in the morning. You know, those two things, if you did that consistently, your, you know, where you are in your awakening or your really dark night or your depression, you will not look the same in less than a week. You'll see a shift. You'll feel it. It happens quickly.
Gratitude is powerful.
It is.
It
is. It's you know, you hear everybody talk about it. It's annoying now almost because everybody talks about it, right? Everybody's like, okay, gratitude. Okay, but have you actually sat in the energy of gratitude and really felt what it feels like to be grateful for your dog? Not just say, I love my dog. I like my cat. I like my,
what do you
it's
love
so
about
easy
your
to
dog?
say that. But really, what does your dog do for you? Oh, he's that unconditional love. He's there for me when I'm sad. He always knows what, but it's that. You start talking and thinking about it, and all of a sudden your fucking heart just radiates. Guess what? It gets stronger and stronger. So those two things are like such an easy thing, but also don't be scared to do the work. Don't be scared to look at your pain and allow it to move. And
sit in the uncomfortability of it.
Yeah. And allow yourself to seek out some help too. You know, find a healer, find a therapist, find a retreat, find a psychic, find a medium, find anything that you feel drawn to connect a little deeper. They're going to help you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. So your website has free content.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody loves a freebie.
Yeah.
What can listeners find there, and how can it help support their spiritual journey?
Well, most of my free content will be on YouTube for sure. I don't know how many guided meditations there, but I have like inner child journeys. I have a lot of my meditations, I often try to bring some sort of bring an opportunity for clarity, healing, guidance. So whether it's connecting with your spirit guides or an introduction to inner child work or a moment to just sit with your inner child, I like my inner journeys to have some depth to it. Not to say that other people don't, but not just calmness. I want calmness, but I want to go in there with a little bit. I want you to come out of that going,
You want a bit
holy
of
shit,
zing.
yeah, I want some zing in it. Absolutely. So there's most of my content there, and I have some on my website. There's some, I have some sleep hypnosis recordings. I have some inner child work there, bigger workshops, and um, stuff like that. But yeah, most of my free stuff you can find on YouTube. There's lots there.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a really beautiful way for people to, one, get access to this stuff at the beginning of their journey. And, this is also how we, for me, when I'm looking for someone to work with, I see, it's not just about downloading free stuff, but it's like downloading it and doing the work and seeing if I am getting changed, if I am resonating to this energy and these processes.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Important.
Yeah, beautiful.
I would say, upwards to 80% of people have been following me long enough to understand who I am and what I bring before they commit to doing any deeper work with me. And
yeah,
I want that. I want people to see me. I want people to see kind of what my message is and feel into my energy in a live, in a meditation that's free, and go, okay, does his energy match with mine? Is this someone that can help me? And if it does, great. If it does, that's okay.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Just going back to healing the inner child and trauma, releasing limiting beliefs, which are key aspects of your work. Can you share with us, like, maybe a success story from your coaching practice that highlights the power of these practices?
Oh, so I'm not going to name her, but I'm working with a singer-songwriter who works in Nashville quite a bit, and she's won a few big contests for her writing, and she's amazingly talented. And we just wrapped up, and in this few months, I'm not going to take all the credit because she's doing a lot of work, right? But I know I was a piece of bringing these pieces home. And in this last 3 months of working together, not only did she quit her job and is now doing full-time voiceover work and writing and music, but the way she's creating and she's so manifestation, like, it's more about allowing than going to get stuff.
Yeah.
She's been able to move through some big, heavy trauma as a kid. And all that resistance to her being seen, the way she sings, the way she shows up on stage. There'll be a review on that one. She's going to share a little bit about it on a video with me. But it's absolutely, it's unbelievable. Like it's these stories that it's almost incomprehensible how fast you can move when you release the inner child resistance. So
it's the inner child that's kind of holding up those walls and the stop signs, isn't it?
Well, it's something as simple as, I remember a story for me being made fun of in class one day about something. I remember this vividly. I still do. That charge still comes up for me. I haven't really looked into that one yet, because it's like I show up in front of a crowd being vulnerable, and there's still sometimes that zing of being that I can hear the laughter. And that, because a lot of people think trauma is these big events of sexual abuse, and it could be all these other things, but these little traumas we don't think about, made fun of, looked at, pointed at, called fat, called this, all these things that you start to believe as a kid. If those aren't cleared, they can easily come up into our awareness now at 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, trying to do these what we think are simple things, but inner child's like, no, I'm not safe. I'm not safe doing this.
Yeah, and it can just be like, with the inner child, it can just be like one thing that sort of triggers a really impactful trigger, right?
Oh yeah. It doesn't make sense half the time.
No.
Sometimes it won't even look the same, but it will have that same undertone. And so that part of you just goes, not safe here. Let's go. And you freeze up, or your throat, expressing themselves. The amount of throat chakra work we work with, like,
yes.
And the same woman I was talking to you about, this is the same woman. she had a lump in her throat that she was about to go get looked at.
Mm.
And after one of these sessions about clearing her throat, it was gone.
Yeah.
She's like, I thought I had an actual lump in my throat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The amount of physical release that happens
Yes.
from this, so much disease is emotional, trapped emotion. It's
Well, it
disease, it's
starts out
trapped
here in
emotion.
our
Mhm.
energy body, our emotional body, and manifests into disease inside our body, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Witnessing
Yeah.
that firsthand is.
Oh, yeah. She told me this today or the other day. She's like, yeah, I still can't get over this whole lump in my throat. I had to I was literally going to the doctor to check this out. Now it's completely gone. And it was all about her being able to express herself freely.
Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely do, because it resonates with
Yeah.
me. Even
Yeah.
I've had thyroid conditions in the past, and when I started to be able to speak my truth and clear stuff, I didn't need as much medication.
Right.
It was amazing.
Exactly. I love that so much. Yeah.
So, Joey, what future projects or endeavors are you excited about, and how do you envision continuing to make a positive impact in people's spiritual journeys?
The goal right now, I'm going to speak this out into existence because I haven't really talked about it too much, but my goal is to be able to run 2 all expense paid retreats for free for veterans and first responders twice a year, every year. Am I there yet? No, but it's coming. And you know, I have a huge connection with the first responder community, being a correctional officer, having so many friends in fire department, police, and EMTs, and that go through so much trauma and PTSD. And then the veteran side of things, a lot of friends that have served in Afghanistan and all sorts of things. And a lot of my clients who were ex-military going through so much and having little to no support, especially when it comes to the modalities that I believe in, the energy healing, the work, the deep, and to be able to one day have 2 retreats, maybe one in North America, maybe one, on your side of the world. But just to be able to do that, that's a real big goal of mine. I'm seeing it. I do a lot of group work too that's been really fun. But in-person retreats is definitely where I feel pulled to the most at the moment. I really miss the human connection. I love being able to work from anywhere, but I miss hugging people, and I miss being in a room and feeling the energy of the room, and being able to bring my magic to that space. So that's something I'm really looking forward to doing the next phase here.
Amazing.
Joey and I are manifesting something.
We're making something happen.
It's in the creation.
Absolutely.
It's in the ether. We're putting it out there.
Amazing.
It's going to be magic. It is.
Yeah.
Joey, before we wrap up today, do you have anything else that you sort of want to share or say or speak?
Yeah, just, it's so cliche, but it's like, that pull for greatness and for more is not a selfish one. Your soul knows why it's here. Your soul knows why it came.
Yeah.
And you go through these moments and you go through this contrast, you sift through these different things so you can find what you want. Don't play small. There's nothing that scares me more in the world. I think this is my only fear right now, is getting to the deathbed and going, fuck, why didn't I just say yes? Like, why didn't I just say yes? Because I know it's that cliche thing of like, live as much as you possibly can. Say yes to the stuff that lights your heart on fire, your soul on fire. Say yes to helping and serving, because the more you say yes to the guidance of what lights you up, the more you can help. You can't help when you're sitting in your basement depressed and in the shit because you hate what you move through it. Be brave enough to move and say yes to what's pulling.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you, Joey. And thank you for sharing your incredible journey and insights into soul alignment and healing and a child, hypnotherapy, and all the things. Your experiences remind us that even in the darkest moments, there's potential for transformation and growth.
Always. It's always there. Sometimes it's really hard to see it when we're in the depths of it.
Yeah.
So there's always a way out. You know, as long as you don't give up, there's always a way out.
Yeah, there is.
I love that. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in another episode of Evaluate. Sorry. I knew that was going to happen. Elevate
love it.
your spiritual awakening. If you have enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your support helps us to continue bringing these inspiring conversations just like today.
Yeah, and remember to visit Joey's website for valuable resources, his YouTube channel as well for all of those free meditations, and stay connected with us for more transformative conversations. Stay tuned, stay connected, stay enlightened, and keep elevating your spiritual awakening. Big love.
Stay curious, guys.
Thank you.